Welcome to This Academic Life, episode 77.
This episode is sponsored by the School of Engineering at Rensselaer Polytech Institute. Did you know that RPI engineering professor Pankaj Karandi and his group recently used a 3D printer to print human skin, which could potentially be used for burn victims? Not only that, they reported being able to grow hair follicle cells in the printed skin for the very first time. Now that's what we call solving a big, hairy problem.
Hi, my name is Pani Anual. I'm a professor of mechanical engineering.
Hi, my name is Lucy Zhang. I am also a professor of mechanical engineering.
Hi, my name is Kim Michelle Lewis. I am a professor of physics and associate dean for research. Today, we'll talk about professional development training as it relates to executive training to lead in the academy. It wasn't until about a year ago when I began to think about leadership training as I contemplated what is the next step for me in my academic journey. In particular, I wasn't sure if I wanted to continue on this administrative track or return back to the faculty to teach, conduct research, and serve the department. During that time, I recall that another colleague told me about an executive leadership training program. I read about the program and thought maybe this would provide some insight to assist me in making a decision about the next stages of my academic journey. Last year, Lucy and I applied to and we were accepted into ELATES, an executive leadership in academic technology, engineering, and science program at Drexel University. So off we went to this executive leadership program, which began in late summer 2023, and we just completed the program in March of 2024. ELATES at Drexel is a national leadership development program designed to promote senior women faculty and faculty allies of all genders in leadership for academic engineering, computer science, and other STEM fields into effective institutional leadership roles within their schools and universities with a demonstrated commitment to increasing the representation of women in STEM. So we're going to get started. Lucy and I, as I said earlier, participated in this program, and we're going to have Panya is probably the most curious about what we did in this program. So we're going to have her lead us with some questions about our experiences for that year-long residential program.
So you guys were tired of me asking you questions. You said, let's make a podcast out of it, huh? Well, thank you so much, Kim, for giving a little bit introduction about the program. But can you tell me, either of you, can you tell me how you got involved with the program and what motivated you to participate?
So I'll get started. So I first learned about it because our dean of engineering had supported two women faculty in our school to attend this program in the past. I think one was 3 years ago and another one was a year before us, before Kim and I. So they all came back and said wonderful things about it. And to be honest, I wasn't thinking about leadership at all. It wasn't in my mind, but one of them approached me during the application process, perhaps, because they, as an alum, they receive more information, like encourage people that you know to apply and blah, blah, blah. So one of them asked me and said, would you be interested? And I said, well, sure. So, but personally, I never thought about it. It never entered my mind. I just thought it would be something cool to do, just to try. So that's how I learned about it. And then I talked to Kim, and then we've decided to put applications together for the same cohort, thinking that'll be fun, that if we can do this together.
Can both of you share a bit about the program and what does the program involve?
All right, so maybe I'll talk about the overview first. So it involves 3 separate sessions of in-person meetings. So when I say meetings, is really there are pre-programmed activities that are designed already. They're very well crafted. very well organized. So the first session we went, it was more like greet and meet. Let's all use different activities to know each other better, to form that community, forming a bond quickly because, time is very short. So in order for that to really happen, they have all these very intimate activities in small groups for everybody to stay together and share their maybe experiences and maybe their inner thoughts or struggles. And it's really quite well designed, in my opinion. So that was the first session. So that was in August. And then the second session, we went back I believe in November before Thanksgiving. So by that point, we've already completed some assignments. So these assignments, we can go into it later, but they're, in my opinion, it was amazing. It was really amazing. And the third session was the very last session. It's almost like you still learn new skills through the different workshops and activities, but you also do like a report out. So because at the end of this whole year, we're doing this big project that we've been creating all along and designing all along. And then we are doing a TED Talk like presentation in front of our leaders and other participants' leaders. So it was quite an event. So these are the basic sort of the layout of the program.
And I'll just piggyback. I think one thing that Lucy said in the beginning, it was really about bonding and being comfortable about sharing experiences in the space. So I think that was a major component of like the first time we met, is trying to form a bond. Another component I think that was a running theme throughout is in learning how to engage different types of people, whether they are administrators, staff, administrative assistants, other colleagues. I think that was a big component of how to deal with people at different levels, and then the personality types of those people. And not necessarily saying just because you're a dean, you have this personality type. It's all across. So it could be a faculty member, it could be an administrative assistant. So I think that was also a running theme throughout the program. And then another running theme I would say is being able to articulate and communicate your thoughts very quickly and very succinctly in a short amount of time, in terms of whether you were presenting an idea, whether you were introducing yourself, whether you just wanted to tell somebody what your strengths and weaknesses are, whatever that was, being able to command a room or audience or a conversation.
Very true. I really enjoy those activities. I mean, some are more like evaluation of yourself, which you never really thought about. There are programs that are designed for this that we never thought about doing or have access to. And then so during that period of time, we learn more about ourselves, and also based on our personality, based on our comfortness or discomfortness, we are asked to perform certain tasks. Some are totally out of your comfort zone, but you know that you're in a safe environment. No one's going to judge you, and we're all laugh it off or try to cope with it. There are a lot of situational type of play type of activities. Those are really fun. Like you learn how everybody works. And I was told that I was very demanding, which I didn't know about. But anyway, so those are like, I think those are really fun and very dynamic activities that I thought was a wonderful way to know about ourselves and know about others.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback off of the tasks that we were given. So I know Lucy very well. And so anytime we had a task or action to do, and Lucy was given her role, I was like, oh, Lord. I was like, I hope I'm not on her team. This is not going to be good, because I know Lucy in many aspects, as a friend, as a mother, as a wife, as an aunt, as a professor, as an academic advisor. So I've seen all of these things. And so when she was given a role, I was like, oh, Lord, they're about to be in for a rude awakening. And I remember one particular time where she stood up and she said something. And after she was done, I said, your mother will be so proud of you. Because nobody would think that she would be able to vocalize what she said. But I know she always has that in her. I've seen it. And so to see other people was like, whoa. I was like, that's Lucy. Welcome to Lucy.
This is
But
Lucy
it
version one.
version 1, Lucy 1.0. But yeah, so I do agree that you do realize things about yourself. And I guess that was my first time, and she could probably say the same thing about me, us looking at the optics of how other people view us. And so it's interesting when we would go into our other rooms and let's say somebody made a comment about what Lucy said. I would find myself defending her because I'm like, I know what her intention was when she said that comment. So it's very interesting that you could say one thing and you leave out and you've made an impression on someone, and the intention of that impression is totally taken out of context. And you're like, no, she said that because of this situation she had that you guys don't know about. It was very interesting. So I had to catch myself from saying too much because I'm like, okay, well, all right, that's one aspect. So it's interesting how people view you when you make comments. They only have that 10-second snippet of what you said. They don't know how that 10-second snippet is like a development of 10 years of something that happened to you.
So do you guys think that you would have had this much fun if one wasn't there?
I think it's definitely more fun. Definitely at least added another 30 to 50% more fun. Have each other there. And we didn't have a lot of chances to be just by ourselves, except the very first session because no one knew each other yet, the first evening. But it's actually nice for us to sometimes to be kind of retreat ourselves because we know each other so well and we're so blunt with each other with our opinions and ideas. Or just we're just like, okay, this and this worked fine and that did not work fine, and then we can retreat and have that reflection among ourselves.
Yeah.
Between the two of us. I think that added so much value and happiness in the whole process. And it's like almost like if we have something to share, like in terms of like good things or things we're not so happy about, we have an audience like right there because we trust each other so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you guys, I guess, talk a little bit about, I guess, these highlights, but do you have any key highlights or memorable moments that you would like to share as part of this program?
And related to the program, I think a highlight for me was probably experience having an executive coach. That was something that I guess I had heard about, but never thought about it from an academic point of view. I watch TV shows and you have these executive coaches come in, but again, I'm thinking about businesses, CFOs, CEOs of big companies, and it makes sense to me, but I never thought about having an executive coach for academic position, academic leadership role. So I thought that was a great experience to kind of have that chunk of coaching from very well experienced and trained people. So I thought that was great. And I think also the evaluation, the peer evaluation that we had to do related to how different people in our organization view us and view our roles and how we engage them, from administrative assistants all the way up to the provost or the vice president of research. I thought it was those anonymous comments about my strengths, my weaknesses, and where I might go wrong and how I can improve things was like very valuable. And I appreciated the level, depth of the feedback because you didn't know who said what, right? You just know, okay, administrative assistant said this or executive leadership team said this, and you don't know who said it, but nevertheless, I didn't walk away feeling like it changed my feelings about my colleagues. You know how sometimes, like when you get teaching evaluations and the students say something and you kind of go to class and you feel a little bit of anxiety because you just read those comments and now the same students are sitting right in front of you and you're like, should I write on the board because they said I wrote on the board too much? Should I say this example because they think I give too many? But this one was different. It was very different. And I think what was important for me, it was clear in their feedback, they wanted me to succeed. And I think that was key. It was like, here's some constructive criticism, but it's because I want you to be the best associate dean that this college has ever seen. And so you take that and it's empowering for me. And I didn't walk away with like a big head or anything. It was just like, it was humbling. It was like, okay, all right, got it. I need to sharpen up my tone when I say this, or I need to do this when I ask for something. So I thought those were two big highlights for me.
So my highlights, I think one was coming from the assignment we were given to interview leaders in your institution. So the first one, they actually designate, the one is your nominator. So for me, it's the dean of engineering. So he nominated me. So that's a must. You interview that person. And then they also ask you to interview the first round, I think provost and CFO. So they want you to interview your financial officer in your institution. So initially I was like, oh my goodness, it's more homework, because, I'm not even on campus. So for me to make that connection, I feel at the beginning, I felt so uncomfortable. I mean, the dean is an exception. I know him well enough. He nominated me. I know he would say yes and all of that. But the others, I didn't even know who they were, right? So we have a new provost and so new that I didn't even know her. I didn't even know her name. I think she's only been here for like less than a month or something at that time. So I was very intimidated by that process. But because it's a homework and I said, I got to do it. So I'm just going to write a template email one night. I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then I sent out those emails out to request for a meeting for each one of them. I tailor the email a little bit because I want to introduce myself and I want to make sure they understand this is coming from, the ELATES program and all that. And surprise to me, everybody responded within like a couple of days. Everybody. And I was very surprised and I felt so supported, which I never thought. I've never had an opportunity to reach out to them for whatever reason. So I didn't know how they would react. And they were so friendly. They were so supportive. They really welcomed with their warm arms. And then I went to their office and I interviewed them like one after not on the same day, but I did that entire whole process. And after that, I felt empowered, like what Kim was saying with some other exercises. And for this one, I felt like, oh my gosh, I am not transparent. Like people responded to me and I'm just a regular faculty. I mean, for them, I'm just a faculty and they spend the time and all of them spend more than what I scheduled for. Like I scheduled each one 30 minutes and, but they all give me more than an hour. I was so touched. I couldn't believe it. I really felt a sense of community and support that I never felt before. And second round, same type of assignment between the second session and third session. I think we had a freedom to choose whoever leader that you want to interview. And I chose the president and I chose the VPR and another third one, and also the vice provost of graduate studies. And again, same thing. They all responded within like a couple of days. And I was able to schedule them, meet with them. They all give me so much time of their day, including the president. Just talk about what he's thinking, what his visions are, because he's relatively new. So anyway, that is the highlight of this entire program, which I had no idea, I didn't expect that I am valued. I feel at the end of this, I feel very valued.
So now the whole upper management, they know who Lucy is.
I think that's the purpose of this assignment. They did it intentionally. They said, as this assignment is not simply to know them. Yes, you do want to know them, but you also want them to know you. So if my community, the learning community, so we share. So actually, some are coming from the previous alum who are guiding us and give us their experience with ELATES. They got to an administrative position or leadership role as a result of simply introducing themselves to the leaders. So like very unexpected. It's not like they're looking for it, but because they were present in front of the leaders, so opportunities just arose. So I think that's part of the intention, is so that they also know you. And yeah, so I thought it was a wonderful way to kind of force that communication channel open. And also, I was very uncomfortable at the beginning, but not anymore. So it was very good exercise for me.
So as part of the program, can you guys tell me what kind of skills you gain and what was unique about the program in terms of gaining those leadership skills?
The special one that like kind of stood out for me was to learn how to read your university finances. I mean, the reports are actually open to the public. And anybody, like, I could easily access, which I didn't even know existed. So the fact that they said, well, you get the report and then we will help you, we will teach you how to read it. And I thought that was very interesting. The part of the thing they were trying to convey is it's a skill. You don't have to be a leader to know how to read a financial report of a institutional financial report, but it's a piece of knowledge that you could carry. So even if you are thinking about from going one institution to another institution as a regular faculty, for example, you want to know how they're doing in the future, like a long-term financial well-being. And so, we had some expert who came and taught us how to read it, and what does some numbers mean, and how each institutions may have a different name, but they all mean the same thing. So we had a few sessions on that, in fact. Yeah, very interesting.
So we had to do an institutional action plan. And at first it was difficult for me to think of an institutional action plan, which means it impacts the entire organization. The college that I'm in is the largest college on campus. So I already feel like if I just did something at the college level, that's huge. But I pushed myself to go outside of my college. And the one thing that was going to be difficult was I have to figure out how to complete this institutional action plan on a shoestring budget. But I had to make it impactful enough for stakeholders to help me implement the plan. And so I was able to do that when I went on the interviews that Lucy mentioned, I asked the question, what can I do to make your job easier? So I went to the provost, what can I do to make your job easier? And they were like, oh, I was like, okay, this is what I need you to do. And went to the CFO, and they all had answers. It was like, this is what you need to do as an associate dean to make my job easier. And I was like, okay, got it. So I used that information to put into my institutional action plan. And that's how I got the stakeholders. Because I was like, if I do this, the provost is going to give me the resources. If I do this, the CFO is going to give me the resources, even though it wasn't money. It could just be time. Hey, CFO, can I borrow the grants team to come to my workshop? And I thought that was the skill I learned, to ask them a very simple question. How can I make your job better? Because in my mind, I thought I was going to them to say, here's what I need you to do to make my job better. It was the other way around. I'm the Associate Dean of Research. Here's where I think the university could do better. But then flipping the script, it was like, wow, it made such a big difference in how I viewed my contribution to the university. And then I also figured out, when I asked people when I started the interview, what do you remember? What thing have I done since I've been here in this position since 2018 that you remember? And some of the answers I got, I was like, really? That's what you remember? and the part of me was slightly disappointed. But then I was like, I went back and I reflected, what does that really mean? That's the thing there. And the thing that they remembered wasn't bad. It was not bad. It just wasn't on my radar as a memorable thing. Because in my mind, I was like, I had to do that. When I think memorable, I think of, this is what you did that went beyond the call of duty. But for them, it was like, no, it was just a simple thing that you did. I'm like, okay, got it. Right. So I think for me, just learning how to get stakeholders and getting them on your side, and not have them think that, oh, you're approaching them because you need funds, you need finances, it could be a different type of support. It doesn't necessarily have to be monetary support. So I think that was the skill that I learned most about in the program.
I also want to mention that the last session where we did our presentations on our institutional action plan, we practice a lot, right? Because you wanted, I think we were given 5 minutes, and then you have to tell the entire story from beginning to end, from why you want to do it and how you're going to do it, and then what the impact would be, really the whole thing. We practiced a lot. And I think part of the reason this activity was put in place was because a lot of leaders are coming, right? So everybody's nominators or their all institutional leaderships are coming that last day. So everybody's really presenting them in front of many leaders. But I was more impressed with the amount of ideas and talents that came out of our groups. I mean, there are so many good, brilliant ideas that you wouldn't even think, right? So if you're like, you're there, you're in your own institution, you see things happen, and sure, good things. But these are real. It wouldn't even occur to me, some of these really brilliant ideas. And I think, reflecting back afterwards, actually, I was a little reserved with this. And then afterwards, I reflected quite a bit, and I said, you know what? No, this is for them, for the leaders there to learn how brilliant these people are. I was so floored, so impressed, because we had to do rounds of exercises. So we get to listen to many of these people's talks over and over. And I'm just like really floored with these ideas. And I think these leaders really could use these opportunities to learn, or to learn from us, right? I mean, it's just brilliant.
Tanya, thanks for taking the time to listen to our experiences at ELATES at Drexel University. I definitely think the program has given me a perspective as it relates to how to engage administrators and other leaders in the academy. I would definitely encourage everyone listening to seek out these opportunities and have the experience. You can find out more information about ELATES at Drexel University at drexel.edu and we will put that link in our show notes. That's just one of many executive leadership programs. I'm sure you might find one closer to your home institution, but overall, we encourage you to explore these leadership programs as you continue on your academic journey. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this conversation. You can follow us on Facebook and listen to our latest episodes on iTunes, Spotify, or Amazon Music. We'd like to thank our sponsor, the School of Engineering at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, for sponsoring this episode. If you're interested in being a sponsor, then please contact us at sponsor@thisacademiclife.org. Join us next time for the good, the bad, and the ugly of this academic life.